All right, so today we're going to go ahead and continue to talk about factoring trinomials, but now that we're going to look at instances where our a is no longer equal to 1. So previously we have been factoring polynomials where our a was 1, or we could pull out a GCF to make it 1. So right now we're going to look at ones that we can't do that to. We actually have to work with the factors, okay? So the steps are still pretty much the same as before. Always the first step, look for a GCF for all terms, okay? You should see if there is a GCF. It hides in this type especially a lot. Most of the ones we're going to deal with will probably not have one, just to kind of get started. Then you still check for your last sign. Remember, your last sign in your trinomial tells you if the signs are same or different, which means if they're the same, you're adding to get the middle term, and if they're different, you're subtracting to get the middle term. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and look at the first sign. Now, if your last sign is the same, your first sign will tell you the sign of them. So it'll tell you whether they're 2 pluses or 2 minuses. Okay. If your last sign is subtraction, that means you're going to have different signs. That means that you need to go ahead and look at your first sign and say, okay, is it plus or minus? Because we're doing subtraction here. And so it'll tell you the largest number. Same as before, nothing's changed. And then again, we look for our factors of C. Remember, C is our last term, and it's a number. So we find the factors of C, something we didn't have to do before, which is our new step because A is no longer equal to 1. We need to look for factors of A also. So we're looking at factors of the front as well as factors in the back. All right? Then you go ahead and place one set of factors, just one set. I usually go for, if there's only let's say it's a 3, and then the other one is like 20, where there's a couple different combinations, I'm going to place the ones where I have no choice, that only have one set of factors. And then we're going to go ahead and place the other set. That's the big topic of our discussion. And you absolutely must at least do a necklace check, because you have to check that middle term and make sure it's working out okay. All right, you don't have to do a full FOIL necessarily, but you do have to do a necklace check. All right, so let's go ahead and look at a few problems. All right, and also if you are fairly comfortable with factoring, you may try to do these on your own, and that's totally okay with me. All right, we're going to look at 3x squared plus 5x plus 2. All right. First thing I should do is look for a GCF, but all these numbers are prime. I did that on purpose, okay? So I'm not going to have a GCF for all 3 terms. I'm going to go ahead and look at my last sign. It is plus. That tells me the signs are the same. And my first sign is plus, which tells me that my signs are the same. They're both plus, and to get my middle term, I will be doing some addition, okay? Now I need to find my factors. So my factors of 2 are just 2 and 1. Easy enough. Okay. I also need to find factors of 3 again. Easy enough. It's just 3 times 1 or 1 times 3. And so these are a set of factors I'm going to have to use. All right. I'm going to start off and create my binomials. And I'm going to place one of my sets of factors. In this case, they both only have one set of factors. So I'm going to go ahead and place my 3 and my 1. And I'm not worried about the x squared right now. I know it has to go in there. All right. And then what I want to do is I want to place the 2 and the 1 such that I get a 5 in the middle. And I'm going to create that, and I'll check that with my necklace. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put the 2 with the 3 and the 1 with the 1. Now, remember I told you can't have an LCD in your binomials. However, there's always a 1, so the 1s are okay. All right? I'm going to do a quick necklace check so that I can go ahead and make sure my middle term checks out. So I got 2 times 1, which is 2. I got 3 times 1, which is 3. And when I add those two things together, I do indeed get my 5. We are almost there. So I do need to go ahead and add my x's in. And if I want to, I can erase that 1. For right now, I'm not too concerned about that. All right. And my signs are both plus. All right. So I have my 2 binomials. So my binomials are 3x plus 2 and x plus 1. I'm going to drop the 1 at this point. So we're using the exact same idea, except that, yes, we have to check our middle term. It's a little trickier to get because we're using 2 different sets of factors. And then we also need to go ahead and make sure that our factors are good. All right, let's look at one where we have to deal with some signs, because I remember we had that discussion about signs as far as the necklace goes, so we're going to talk about them here. So I have the same 3 numbers, just in a different order. So they're still all prime. My 3 is plus. Oh, these are going to be the same sign, so it's not going to be different signs. Excuse me. We're not there yet. So these signs are going to be the same. They're both, in this case, going to be negative. I was getting ahead of myself. All right. Factors are still the same. Factors of 3 are still 3 and 1. Factors of 2 are still 2 and 1. I'm going to go ahead and create my binomials. I need a 5, so I have to use the same kind of trick, only now my 2, my 1 go here. And my 3 and my 1 are going to go here, because I know if I do a quick necklace check, because we just did this one, that they're going to add up and give me 5. But in this case, my signs must both be negative. All right? So go ahead and add in your x's, add in your minuses, and you're good to go. So I have 2x minus 3, x minus 1. And notice I used the same numbers in a different order, and it still worked out. Okay? That's not always going to be true. Let's look at just a couple more. All right? So now I'm going to run some opposite sign ones. These ones have, first of all, GCF. I don't have a GCF for all 3, so I'm okay there. My sign is now minus. So that means my signs are opposite. And I'm performing some sort of subtraction for my middle terms. And this sign tells me that the bigger number of these 2 is positive. However, that's going to work. All right, so factors of 4. I have a couple choices. I have either 4 or 1 or 2 times 2. For 5, I only have one set of factors. I have 5 and 1. Let's go ahead, set up our binomials. Now, because my 5 only has one set of factors, these are the ones I'm going to place in my binomial, and they are not going to move. Okay? I have a couple different things I could go ahead and use for 4. I can do 2 and 2, or I can do 4 and 1. Let's go ahead and try 2 and 2 and see what happens. I'm going to place my 2 here and my 2 here. Notice I'm still not worried about signs. And I'm going to do my necklace check. So I have 2 here and 10 here. Now remember, I'm performing subtraction to get 8. This does indeed work. And for the most part, the numbers that are the closest together will generally be the ones you want to use if you have multiple sets of factors. Not always, but a large majority of the time, that's the pair that you want to go ahead and pick. All right, and I go ahead and add my x's. And now I got to do my signs. So my larger number must be plus, so that's my 10, and this 2 must be minus. Okay? The top number in your necklace, that sign, goes in your first binomial, always. The second one, the bottom of the necklace, always goes in the second binomial. So our final answer here is going to be 5x minus 2. I'm going to drop the 1x plus 2. And remember, you can always do a full FOIL once you're done to totally make sure that you did this right. And they're all there. Let's look at the last one. So this one also has opposite signs. So a plus and a minus. In this case, I have a minus, so my larger number is going to be negative. I'm still performing subtraction to get my middle term. All right. Factors of 10, 1 and 10, 2 and 5. All right. 6, I have 6 and 1. And 2 and 3. All right, so which one do I want to place? I'm not really sure, but I have to subtract to get to 11. Now there's also, remember I told you the ones that are closest together are usually the ones I try. So I'm going to go ahead and place these guys in my binomials. All right, and they're going to stay there. Now I'm going to go ahead and say, well, normally when they're close together, that should be my set. So I'm going to go ahead and try my 2 and 5. Now I only have one place that I can go ahead and put these. Because I did not have a GCF when I started off, I cannot set my numbers such that I have a GCF in my binomial, which means the 2's cannot be in the same binomial. So if this is going to work, my 2 has to be over here, and my 5 has to be over here, or that set of factors does not work. All right, let's do a quick necklace check. So I have 15, and I have 4 I have to subtract, and this does work out. I do get 11. My larger number must be negative, so this must be negative, this must be positive. Go ahead and place your x's. And then you're going to go ahead and place your signs. So the top one goes here, and the bottom one goes here. And so I end up with 2x minus 5, 3x plus 2. All right, so go ahead and try the practice problems. If you have any questions, go ahead and reach out, and I will see you in the next video.